Hello dear students, welcome to NSM-LEARNING. In this series, we are discussing how a client was saved. A text which was taken from Gandhiji's autobiography, My Experiment with Truth. So this text, how a client was saved, it is prescribed for the fourth semester BA program students, and it is in LCC 4, Basics of English. In the last lecture, I summarized the story. I also told you the background of the text, and today we are going to start the text. So, for a better understanding of the text, I would like to advise the readers, my students, to have the text in front of them if it is possible while I am delivering the lecture. At the same time, we shall also be discussing the probable MCQ or SAQ type questions from this text, which may be useful for the coming exam. So let us start the text. The readers by now will be quite familiar with Parshi Rustamji's name. He was one who became at once my client and co-worker. Or perhaps it would be truer to say that he first became my co-worker and then client. So we see that in the very beginning of the text, Gandhiji introduces a man by the name Parshi Rustamji. Rustamji was a businessman of Persian origin. He was settled in South Africa, and we know that while Gandhiji was practicing law in South Africa, he built up a relationship with that man by the name Parshi Rustamji. So, in the beginning, he introduces the man, and he says that my readers will come to know many things about this man, Parshi Rustamji, because I am going to tell them a story which is related to this man, Parshi Rustamji. He says that readers will be familiar with Parshi Rustamji because I am going to tell a story regarding that man. Next, uh, he says that he was a man who became at once my client and co-worker, or perhaps it would be truer to say that he first became my co-worker and then client. So the relationship was started in between the two in a relation of co-workers, and ultimately when Rustomji was in trouble, he sought advice from Gandhiji, and then their relationship was turned into a relationship of advisor and a client, lawyer and a client. Next he says, I won his confidence to such an extent that he sought and followed my advice also in private domestic matters. So we can see that how confident Gandhiji was about that man. He demands, Gandhiji demands that he won the confidence of Parshi Rustamji to such a degree that he not only asked for Gandhiji's advice, he also followed them, even in his private matters, private domestic matters. So we can easily understand about the depth of their relationship in between the two. It was a very, very close and intimate relationship. That is why Gandhiji demands that Rustomji used to seek my advice even in his private domestic matters. Then, even when he was ill, he would seek my aid. And though there was much difference in our ways of living, he did not hesitate to accept my quick treatment. He again claims, he again demands that when Gandhiji, when Rustomji fell ill, he accepted his quick treatment, Gandhiji's quick treatment. So quick treatment, we know quick treatment is the treatment by a man who does not have the proper knowledge of medicine. So without having the proper degree or proper knowledge of medical science, if one practices that profession, he is called a quick doctor and his treatment is called a quick treatment. So Gandhiji says that even when Rustomji fell ill, he used to seek my aid. And though our ways of living, that is our lifestyle, was totally different, because we know that Gandhiji used to lead a very very simple life, and on the other hand, Rustomji was a big businessman, so he used to lead a very very luxurious life. So the treatment plan, ways of treatment should be different in between the two men. But Gandhiji demands that I was so a trustworthy person for him, that though our lifestyle was totally different, he used to accept my treatment. He would sought my aid, sought my health when he fell in ill. When he fell ill, not only that, he also did not hesitate to accept my quick treatment. So this was the confidence of Gandhiji. So he says that I won his confidence to a very very to high degree, to high extent. So this is how the first paragraph of the text ends. So what may be the important questions from here? The first question may be, whom does Gandhiji introduces in the beginning of the story, how a client was saved? Of course, we know that it is Parshi Rustomji. Secondly, what does Gandhiji say about winning the confidence of Parshi Rustomji? So the answer would be, Gandhiji won his confidence to such an extent that he sought and followed his advice even in his private domestic matters. Then again, what is the third question? Maybe, what do you mean by quick treatment? So quick treatment is the treatment by a man who does not have the proper knowledge of medical science. So without having the proper knowledge of medical science, or without having the proper knowledge of medicine, if one practices that profession, that is called quick treatment. So in the next video we shall start the next paragraph. Thank you.